Hey everybody, I am coming making this video message and I want to tell you, be a good steward over what God has blessed you with. So many of us, God has blessed us with opportunities. God has blessed us with some awesome people in our life, whether it's that family member that always has your back, beautiful friends that always have your back, they're always there for you. Um, or he's blessed you with a beautiful home or homes, a beautiful car or cars, or you have got that dream job that you already wanted. You have beautiful clothes, you have beautiful children, whatever your situation is. And like I say all the time, however it looks, a lot of us can talk about how many different blessings God has given us. But I want you all to know that when God does give us something, we have to be a good steward over what he gives us. What happens is that a lot of people, they start to get comfortable after they get the blessing. Sometimes people totally forget about where they came from before they got a certain blessing. So for instance, you may have gotten that dream job that you sat and cried and fasted and prayed about for many years of your life. A couple of times or a few times, the door was closed in your face. And for whatever that season or those seasons kept passing you by and you could not get that job. Finally, something cracked, something opened, and that opportunity for you to work that job and get that position, it was made available to you. But what does a lot of people do when they finally start making the money that they want and they finally get the job that they want? Sometimes they will down talk and look down on a person who used to be, or I'm sorry, who are where they used to be. You will see this with certain people. Not everybody does this, but there are some people, they get very arrogant and they get very cocky, forgetting that, you know what? I used to be the janitor in the high school before I became a coach. I used to be the person that would stay in the classroom and clean it up at the daycare. But now I'm an actual teacher. Now I own the daycare. This is what I'm trying to get you all to understand. And so when you are not a good steward, meaning in attitude and how you take care of it and how you handle it, God is talking about it in Matthew chapter 25 and verse 23, where he's basically saying that you've been faithful. I'm paraphrasing. You've been faithful over a few things. Now I'm going to multiply and give you more things. Did you all know that when we are a good steward over what God gives us, he multiplies it and he actually blesses us with more? Some of you all, God has blessed you with a beautiful husband or a beautiful wife. And then right after you get married to them and you get comfortable with them, some of you all, you will trash your spouse. You will talk to them any type of way. You will allow other people to talk to them any type of way. You will cheat on them. You will be abusive to them, whether it's physically, mentally, verbally, or emotionally. You totally forget about all of those seasons and years and years and years of your life that you were a single man or a single woman. You totally forget about all those seasons of your life where you were having a really hard time and you didn't have anybody to come home to. You didn't have anybody in your corner. This is not for everybody, but it's for some of you all. You know that if you didn't want God to do anything else for you, you wanted God to bless you with a particular thing. And whatever that thing was, only you all know as you hear me talking, that will come to you. Whatever that thing was or those things were, all I'm saying in this message is be a good steward over it. Be a good steward over it. Don't ever forget where you came from. Don't ever forget how far God has brought you. Don't ever forget how long it took you to get something, because sometimes you have to remember that, because it will make you appreciate it more. Some people, they are not appreciative for what God does in their life. They are not appreciative for the fact that God has blessed them with beautiful children. I talked about this with you guys last year. I talked about these things when I made the video about complaining. Some people, they are so blessed, but they still complain. You ever come across somebody, it does not matter how awesome their life is. They have everything. Just as an outsider looking in, you can look inside that person's life and you can see, you don't have to know all the details, but you could just see, just on the outside, they have a nice home, they have the money, they have a nice car, they have a beautiful marriage. You don't need to know the details. You just know what I'm saying is, you know that they're not lacking. You know that they are not lacking in certain areas. They have things that probably you don't, or that you're waiting for God to do, but they're already there. They're already there, but they still are not appreciative. They complain about their wife. They complain about their husband. They complain about their kids. They always say that their spouse or their children gets on their nerves. They complain about their job. That is really a common one, where you run into people and they are not even happy and they do have their dream job. They still find some type of way to complain and badmouth their job. I'm not saying that you can't have these feelings. You can have a bad day at work. You can have a bad day where your kids are getting on, your nerves for that day. But there are some people, they don't really spend a lot of time with their children, like really talking to them and getting to know them. And some people, they will say that they regret that they had their children. Okay, this is not to condemn anybody, but all I'm saying is that, and I think all of us are guilty of this, where sometimes it escapes us from being a good steward over what God gives us because we get comfortable in it. It's kind of like a kid when they get a birthday present, okay, or somebody blesses them with a certain gift. Even for those that celebrate Christmas, they'll get a Christmas gift and they're so excited about that toy that they begged you for. You went broke. You spent your whole paycheck to get your child that one toy or that one birthday gift that they wanted, and they will just play with it for 1 week straight. After that week passed, they throw it in the corner somewhere, and you looking like, you begged me. You begged me for the whole year to get you that gift for Christmas. You begged me for the whole year to get you that gift for your birthday. And now after 1 week, you throw it in a corner. They're not appreciative of it. They're not being a good steward over it. If you've been blessed, let's say with an opportunity, whatever the opportunity is, maybe you've been given the opportunity to fly somewhere and speak out of the country. Maybe you've been given an opportunity where you can meet certain prestigious people, and then from that meeting and conversation, they offer you something and the door is open for you. Once you get in the room and after you have done whatever it is they've requested of you, some of you all, you are not being a good steward over that opportunity. You get arrogant, you get prideful, you get cocky, and you forget about how many nights you cried and prayed asking God to bring you to that point where you could get in a room and sit at the table with some very important people. We have got to be a good steward over what we have, because God will test you. He will test you. He will test us. He will give us a blessing and sit back and see how we're going to act with that blessing. And once we have been a good steward over that, or faithful to that one thing he's given us, then he can trust us to give us another blessing or a bigger blessing. This is what I want you all to understand. Some of you are, you looking around like, you know what? Why do I only have this one blessing? It's so many other things that I need. I'm waiting on 3 or 4 other things for God to do. But could it be that those other blessings are actually held up because you don't even appreciate the first one that God has given you? Could it be that your blessings are held up because the 2 blessings that God has given you, you are not being a good steward over them? And so now he's put on hold the other blessings he has in store for you, because he wants you to change your outlook, your perception, and your attitude on the blessings that you have right now. Some of you all, you just are never satisfied. You may have gotten that car that you wanted. It was what you asked God for. You prayed for it. But you'll see somebody else with something, and then you'll totally forget about the car that you prayed about, and you'll want to covet what you see somebody else have as far as a car goes. This is the attitude of a lot of people. And sometimes when you are not a good steward over something, it gets taken away from you. That's a fact. That's a fact. This message is not for everybody, but it's a very real thing when you complain, when you are not appreciative, when you dog out and mishandle and fumble what God has given you, then you lose it. When you are faithful over something and when you are a good steward over something, God can trust you with it. Are you a good steward over the call on your life? Are you a good steward over the anointing on your life? You may say, well, I don't know what you mean, Kiki. I'm going to break it down for you. Some of you all just sit on your gift. Are you lazy with your gift? Do you sit and just wait for a man or woman of God to come and anoint your head with oil and literally tell you this is who you are in God? Or have you put the work in to spend time with God, to patiently wait for God, and you are building your one-on-one relationship with God so it becomes more evident what your gift is? Is that what you're doing? Or if you already know who you are in God, what are you again doing with the gift? So if you have a gift for speaking, why are you still silent? If you know by the unction of the Spirit, God have placed something very heavy, because sometimes God will do that. He will place something very, very, very heavy in your spirit and in your mind to talk about. But you're sitting on that gift because you're concerned about what people are going to think about you. You're concerned about what people are going to say about you. And so you don't step out and speak on that particular topic or that particular subject because you fear man and you're worried about people not liking you. You're not being a good steward over the anointing and call and gift that God has placed on your life. Some of you all, you know you're anointed to do a particular thing. It may not be the gift of speaking. It may be the gift of writing. Just because in your mind you wrote the book, you may sit back and say, well, that poetry I wrote or that book that I wrote, it sounds stupid to me. But that's how you feel, and that's the deception and the lie of the enemy. The enemy is always going to put lies in your head and make you get to a point where you second guess the gift that God has given you. You're not even bold enough to go out and show it to other men or women of God or just other people. But you wrote it out and you feel like, well, it don't sound right to me. Sometimes we are definitely our worst critic. But that's what you're personally thinking about it. But when somebody else comes and they read it and they look at it, it's magnificent to them. They confirm to you that they know God used you to write it. That's just an example. That's just an example, guys. All I'm saying is that be a good steward over what God has given you, and He will enlarge your territory. He will bless you with more. Why would God trust you and bless you with a husband or a wife when now you're in your single season and you're dating, but you can't even be faithful to the person that you in that relationship with now as a single man or woman? You're dating them, you guys are exclusive, but behind his or her back, you're talking to 2 or 3 or 4 other people. Are you serious? And so now you're saying you're ready for a kingdom spouse. Some of you all, you really need that real reality check. You definitely need that. You will sit back and feel like, oh, you all put together. You're ready for a husband. You're ready for a wife. But the man or the woman you're dating right now, behind their back, you're having several conversations with other people. You're strongly attracted to somebody else. And if you are given the opportunity to mess with that man or mess with that woman, you would dump the person that you're dating right now. You think God doesn't know this? You think God doesn't know your heart? You think God doesn't know your thoughts? He knows. He knows what's going on. So yeah, He's not going to send you a kingdom spouse. And that's your attitude and mentality. Be a good steward over what He has given you. I want you guys, before I get out of here, I want you all to look at what you have right now. Sometimes what we do is that we start counting money, blessings, opportunities before they even manifest themselves. I'm not saying don't have a spirit of expectation. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm actually saying is that sometimes we focus on certain things that we want and we don't pay attention to what we already have. We're not praising God for the little we already have right now. I don't care where you live at. I don't care who you live with. I don't care what you drive. I don't care if you have 5 of your best outfits hanging in the closet. If those clothes are clean and they are not ripped up, you are definitely blessed, because there are some people out here, they don't have access to a washer and dryer. They don't have the money to go to the laundromat, but you do. So again, if you only have 5 of your best outfits, you are blessed. How are you stewarding those outfits? Are you complaining and saying, no, I need more jeans. I need more shirts. I need more shoes. It's no holes in your shoes or dents. But you looking at shows, you looking at movies, you looking at friends and people around you, and you see that they have a lot, so you feel like you should be in that position. No, sometimes God wants you to look at what's already in your face right now at this moment, at this second. Look at where you are now. Do you appreciate the person that you dating? Or you busy picking out all their failures and their flaws, even if you don't verbalize it to them? You behind their back telling your friends and telling certain family members, well, you know what? She is somebody good, or he is somebody decent that I'm dating, but they don't have this and they don't have that, and they not top tier. They not high value in this area, so I think I'm going to go ahead and break up with them. You find something to complain about with everything that you got instead of just being happy where you are. Sometimes you got to see yourself. You got to see yourself with better, even though things are not better, if you catch my drift. That's real talk. You've got to see and sense and feel you're better, even though things are not better. You never lose hope in God. You always say, you know what, God, I'm crying my tears. I don't have everything that I need. I've been praying to you and asking you for certain things, and you haven't given them to me yet. But you know what, God, with this little bit that I have right now that you've graced me to have, my little studio apartment, God, my little, whatever car you have, my little old 20-year-old Toyota Camry, God, I'm going to thank you for it. I'm going to keep it clean. When I get my money and I need a little repair done to it, I'm going to get it done. You know, God, I'm dating this guy. He's not rich. He doesn't gain the attention of the room where he walks in, but he respects me as a lady. He treats me like a lady. He's never said one cross word to me. He calls me every morning and makes sure I'm okay. When he drops me off after our date, he waits for me to go into the house. And then when I get in the house, he asks me, is everything okay? Do I need anything? I'm just throwing things out there, guys. Every last one of you all's life, it looks different. Your situation looks different. Some of you have a little. Some of you have a little bit more. Some of you all have a lot. But be appreciative for what you have now. Be a good steward over it. Be a good steward over your spouse. Be a good steward over who you're dating. Be a good steward over that job you have. Be a good steward over the money that you're making. It may not be the amount of money you want now, but it doesn't mean it's not going to come. Doesn't mean more is not going to come. But be a good steward over the money you're making now. It's all about your perception. It's all about your attitude. Thank God now. Be glad about what you have now. Steward it well. Again, if you got your best outfits, you better every chance you get, make sure they are spotless. Wash your stuff, freshen them up, spray your starch. You better get something to shine up your shoes. If you got to wash your shoes, that's what you better do. See, a lot of people, human beings are too prideful. We are always looking for the next best thing. We always want that feeling back that we got the first time that we got something that we waited for so long. But lust and flesh is never satisfied. This is why you can't have those spirits in operation. You've got to just thank God for what you have now, and you have to do it again. Like I told you all last week, you have to learn how to do things and have a response from the spirit and not from the flesh. The flesh wants, I need more clothes. I need more shoes. I need a better car. I need a finer man. Fellas, you might be like, I need a finer woman. She's not small enough for me. She's not thick enough for me. Too many men, enough men don't want her. I need more men that want her. Because the more men that want her, the more that's going to make me look good. Because they're going to start questioning how I got her. How did I pull her, but they couldn't? Seriously, this is the mentality of a lot of people. You always want more, more, more. Instead of saying, you know what? I don't even have all that. But I'm going to look at what's in front of me right now, and I'm going to be grateful. I'm going to be thankful. I am going to be a good steward over what I have now. This is not a permanent place for me. It's so temporary. God is not dead. He is still on the throne. He is still alive. He is able to do way more than what I can even imagine or think. So right now, where I am, like I said, I got my little studio. I'm going to praise God and thank God for it. I'm going to keep it clean. I'm going to keep it neat. I thank the Lord for my little kids. Now, you know what? They cut up. And sometimes I yell at them and I scream. Come on, parents, we got to be honest. But you know what? I love my children. Because it's some women, they are praying and asking God to bless their womb, and they're having a hard time for whatever reason. But I thank God for my children, because he did not have to bless my womb for my children to pass through me. But Lord, I'm happy you chose me. I'm happy, Lord, you picked my womb to be a mom. I'm happy, Father, you picked me to be a father. Seriously, guys, change your attitude, change your mentality. Start looking at things and responding to things from the spirit, from your spirit, and not in your flesh. The flesh make you want more. The flesh will make you feel like you don't have enough. Your flesh will make you feel like I'm not doing good in life. But the whole time you have even the bare minimum. Some people don't even have the bare minimum. But not you. You do. And you still complaining about it? You still not a good steward over that? All right, guys, I'm done. That's the video message. Well, guys, it's time for me to go because I have some other things to do. The Lord willing, I will be back with another video message. If any one of you have taken offense to anything I spoke about in this video message, it's okay. It's all right. I'm not worried about it. I am not concerned because I know you will forgive me in the morning.